Shaker Aamer, Camp Delta, P.O. Box 160, Washington, D.C. 20053, United States of America. Tuesday, 6th November 2012. Letter to Guantanamo. Dear Shaker, if I may, you don't know me, but I have heard of you. I'm writing to express my outrage and indignation at the intolerable pain which you must be enduring and have suffered since 2001. I cannot begin to comprehend what you have gone through and do currently still. Yet this letter is some kind of attempt to do just that. I start from the assumption that by sharing a problem, we can help to solve it. Yet you find yourself in a situation not of your own making. You have been systematically deprived of your basic liberties from day one of your kidnapping. Instead of receiving gratitude for your charitable work in the schools of Afghanistan, you were betrayed by some local people, lured by the promise of a bounty from your US captors. Nobody gave a damn that you were innocent, but I, and many more alongside me, do give a damn. We are determined to see you back home. You have not seen your family since 2001, but were instead subjected to unspeakable torture and eventually taken to Guantanamo, where the violation of your fundamental rights continued on a daily basis. The treatment and injustice you have suffered, were it reproduced as a Hollywood script, would not even have been admitted as a credible scenario. Even film scripts need to be believable. And when I once discussed the injustice of Guantanamo with a group of sixth formers, do you know what their reaction was? That's impossible. Why would the US and their president do such a thing? Why would the American people allow such a thing? I did not leave without disabusing them of their state of unbelief, but their incredulity still remained. In the 21st century, yes, the United States seeks to justify its crimes against humanity according to some dangerous notion of preemptive self-defense. Self-defeating on its own terms, even according to the chief architects of post-9/11 reactionary politics, Rumsfeld and others claimed that their policies were making the likelihood of attacks on their country not less, but more likely. I plan to read this letter out loud in an address to a demonstration, Truth, Justice and the American Way, that is being held today outside the US Embassy in London, timed to coincide with the US presidential election. Yesterday, I heard candidate Obama boast to the masses, "I say what I mean, and I mean what I say." Yet what of his pledge to close Guantanamo by January 2010? What of your own fate as one of the 89 out of 171 detainees who has been cleared for release? Why does Obama have such a contorted relationship to the truth? Why can't we read Obama's lips, except only when it suits him? Last week, I attended a campaign meeting in the House of Commons, held to discuss your situation and how we might all best proceed. In spite of the buck passing that seems to be the norm amongst the senior diplomats either side of the so-called special relationship, there were many impassioned speeches from lawyers and ordinary folk. No offence to lawyers meant. And one of the suggested actions was to write personalised letters to our MPs. I have decided to write to you directly. I do not know whether my words will be redacted in part, or which parts by some administrator or soldier. Dear censor, think again. I do not know how it will come about that you see my words, or in what form, but I do know that I want to try. I do know that my predicament is as nothing compared to yours. I do know that throughout human history, in the words of Edmund Burke, all that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men or women to do nothing. Moreover, I would insist that to do nothing is not to be good at all, that the goodness is in the action, That is why many are gathered here today, and I wish to address my letter to you out loud to them too. I feel that in my heart and in my bones, that if somebody is sending you positive thoughts, that you will know it. Even if you are not sure of it at the time, I want you to be sure of it when this letter reaches you. I want you not to despair at the injustice of not seeing your family for 10 years, one of whom you have never seen. I can only imagine the pain of being deprived of one's loved ones in this way. Mozambique described it in his letter from Guantanamo. Yet, in my letter to Guantanamo, I want you even to reconsider your hunger strike. Last week, Clive Stafford Smith described this as your way of regaining a sense of self. Such was the solitary confinement and dehumanization you are suffering. The reason I dare to ask you to reconsider is that I know you will be released soon. I know that truth will meet injustice and be the active living thing that brings about change. You need to be physically intact for the sake of your family. Let you gain your sense of self through us. We are thinking about you and are campaigning for your release at every moment. We say what we mean and mean what we say. Your brother, Shara. P.S. The address I was given for you carried a number against your name, but I have deliberately removed this.